You are not exhausted. You are comfortable. And comfort, when left unregulated, slowly dismantles your edge. It does not attack you directly. It simply lowers your tolerance for pressure, one small convenience at a time, until effort feels heavier than it should. Modern life is engineered to remove friction from everything. Food arrives instantly. Entertainment never stops. Climate is controlled. Movement is optional. You rarely have to endure discomfort unless you deliberately choose it. The human system adapts to whatever it repeatedly experiences. When exposed to resistance, it grows stronger. When sheltered from resistance, it softens. And softness, when normalized, becomes the baseline you operate from. Comfort feels harmless because it does not produce immediate collapse. It produces gradual decline. And gradual decline is dangerous, precisely because it is easy to ignore until significant damage has already been done. When friction disappears from your daily life, your tolerance for effort quietly declines. Tasks that once required moderate energy now feel overwhelming. Challenges that once felt manageable now feel heavier than they actually are. Small challenges begin feeling overwhelming. Difficult conversations feel unnecessary. Hard training feels extreme. Deep, focused work feels exhausting before it even begins. The threshold lowers without you noticing. You tell yourself you are tired. You tell yourself you deserve rest, but what you are often experiencing is not exhaustion. It is low friction tolerance disguised as fatigue. Comfort lowers urgency, and urgency is what sharpens focus and drives output. Without urgency, your days expand without structure and your attention drifts without a clear destination. Drift is subtle. It does not look dramatic from the outside. It looks like postponement. It looks like another evening wasted. It looks like another week that passed without meaningful progress. Tomorrow becomes a pattern. And patterns, when repeated consistently over time, do not stay as habits. They become identity. You stop expecting more from yourself because the pattern has redefined what you believe you are capable of. When your habits revolve around comfort, your standards begin adjusting downward without announcement. What once felt unacceptable slowly becomes tolerable. What once felt tolerable slowly becomes normal. Lower standards reduce internal pressure. Reduced internal pressure weakens discipline. Weakened discipline destabilizes structure. And without structure, growth becomes accidental instead of deliberate. Structure is not built in comfort. It is built in controlled stress. Without exposure to stress, there is no adaptation signal. Without adaptation, there is no expansion. The body softens when unchallenged. The mind softens when unstimulated by difficulty. And softness compounds quietly because it produces no obvious failure, only gradual erosion. Softness becomes the new normal. And when softness is normal, intensity feels foreign. Discipline feels extreme. Effort feels disproportionate. You begin avoiding environments that demand more from you. Unconsciously, you choose safe rooms, safe routines, and predictable patterns that never challenge your baseline. Over time, consistent avoidance reduces resilience. Resilience is what allows a man to carry pressure without collapsing. Without it, even manageable stress becomes destabilizing. Without resilience, minor obstacles begin feeling like major setbacks. Minor discomfort feels intolerable, and a man who cannot tolerate discomfort cannot pursue anything meaningful. Comfort does not destroy ambition in one moment. It erodes it slowly. You avoid slightly difficult tasks first, then moderately difficult ones. Eventually, even starting a task feels overwhelming. The real danger of comfort is not that it exists. The danger is that it becomes excessive, unregulated, and mistaken for a lifestyle instead of a temporary state. Correction does not begin with motivation. It begins with subtraction. You remove excess stimulation. You remove constant entertainment. You remove unnecessary convenience. You allow friction back into your daily experience. Deliberate discomfort retrains the nervous system. When you voluntarily choose friction, your tolerance begins rebuilding. Tolerance rebuilds resilience. Resilience stabilizes performance under real pressure. Cold exposure, hard training, focused work without distraction, difficult conversations you would rather postpone. These are not punishments. They are deliberate recalibrations that rebuild your internal edge over time. When you voluntarily enter discomfort, your mind stops fearing it. Fear loses power through repeated exposure. And when fear weakens, confidence expands into the space it leaves behind. Confidence is not built through comfort. It is built through evidence. Evidence that you can endure pressure without escaping it. Evidence that you can finish what you started without retreating into ease. The more discomfort you tolerate deliberately, the less you are controlled by impulse. Impulse weakens when it stops being rewarded. And when impulse weakens, your decisions become cleaner and more intentional. When impulse weakens, discipline strengthens. Discipline is not loud or dramatic. It is quiet consistency under mild stress, applied repeatedly without seeking recognition or reward. Consistency restores structure. Structure restores direction. Direction restores momentum. And momentum, when sustained, begins reshaping how you see yourself and what you believe you are capable of. Momentum reshapes identity. When you repeatedly act with intention instead of impulse, you begin to recognize yourself as someone who operates with control rather than someone who drifts with comfort. Identity determines behavior more than motivation ever will. Motivation is temporary. Identity is structural. And identity is shaped through repeated exposure to challenge, not through repeated consumption of ease. Comfort did not ruin you. Excess comfort softened you gradually. The difference matters because softness is reversible. What was conditioned through repetition can be reconditioned through deliberate effort. You do not need extreme transformation to begin reversing the damage. You need controlled friction applied consistently over time. Small deliberate pressure repeated daily produces compound resilience. Friction builds edge. Edge builds discipline. Discipline builds command. And command over yourself is the foundation everything else in your life is built upon. Command over yourself is the foundation of presence. And presence shapes how the world responds to you, how opportunities recognize you, and how people experience your energy. When you regulate comfort, you regulate direction. When you regulate direction, you stabilize your trajectory, and a stable trajectory compounds over time into a life built with intention rather than one shaped by drift. Comfort will always be available. It will always be accessible. It will always feel justified. But discipline must be chosen deliberately, repeatedly, and without waiting for the right conditions. You are not meant to live in constant ease. You are built for resistance. When you engage resistance deliberately, your system responds with growth, clarity, and strengthened identity. Engaging resistance consistently rebuilds resilience. Resilience strengthens identity, and a man with strong identity does not drift. He moves with direction and operates with command. Identity determines trajectory. Trajectory determines outcome. And outcome is simply the accumulation of every small decision you made when comfort was available and discipline was optional. Comfort is not your enemy. Complacency is. Regulate your comfort. Reintroduce friction deliberately. Rebuild your edge. Master yourself. Command your life.